Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steve Rakin here with Rakin Profit and the Bonafide Hustler. This is a green room show. I know it's a little different of a time, but we got a special guest on today, Dan Mitters from the Wholesale Formula. And Dan, he's got an incredible story, him and his partners. What's going on, Dan the man? And he started wholesale in, I believe it was 2011 with like $600, right? Just like me when I started, and Chris, didn't have a lot of money, and he turned that into a multi-million-dollar business. I believe it was, what, $7 million in sales you did? Was it last year?
Yeah, we did $7 million last year.
Holy moly. So it's pretty crazy right there. So we're going to have an awesome show, guys. We're going to be talking about how to get started with wholesale on Amazon. So let's do a little introduction. Dan, what's going on? Can you tell everybody a little bit more about you, what you do, and your story?
Sure. Yeah, when we started, we were actually retail arbitrage, a lot like you guys, and a lot of the green roomers. And we were working still at our jobs, and within about 6 months, we kind of realized how sick Amazon actually is and how much money you could make. So we decided to go full time, left our jobs, and we're full time in 2012 on January 1st. So that was pretty exciting. We did like about $860,000 in sales, retail arbitrage. And then 2013, we did 940, again, all retail arbitrage. And whenever we were going into 2014, it was like, because we live in Kentucky, man, like there's just not a whole lot of shopping action around here. Like to go to the nearest Target, I'm driving an hour and a half.
Wow.
Yeah. I want to go, just think of food options. Like I want to go to Chick-fil-A, it's an hour and a half. That's just in any direction. That's the other crazy part. It's not like, it's just, one direction leads me into a metropolis. No, man, it sucks. It's crazy. So we were always on the road. Like we're, getting that $900,000 in sales was just brutal. I was away from my family all the time. Eric, same. And then we decided like, hey, we got to do something else. So, I can actually see my kids. So we started looking at possibilities and really gravitated towards wholesale. Like we thought about some other options like private label, but honestly, man, that stuff's complex. Like there's a whole lot of moving parts. So it's like, we were a bit chicken, so to speak, to try to get into private label. And we started to get into wholesale, and it was just like, we struggled a whole bunch at the beginning, like a lot of people do. We ran into the same kind of pit traps and had to develop some really cool strategies early to make it successful. But in that time frame from, July was whenever we got our first wholesale order hit Amazon. And between July and December, like we did, we were still doing retail arbitrage.
2011?
No, 2014. In 2014.
Wow, so 2014 is when you started wholesale. Am I hearing you correctly?
Yes.
Wow, that took off quick. I thought you were, so the retail arbitrage and the Amazon started in 2011.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So whenever we started with the wholesale side in 2014, it was that 6 months we did $400,000 in sales, and it was just like it was so much easier than the money we were making from retail arbitrage. So it's like, hey, we were, and we knew in October, November that that was going to be the way our business went. It was very clear how fast it could grow and scale. So we did our last retail arbitrage stint right there in 2014 because everybody knows how sick Q4 is, and we didn't want to miss that. But starting in January, we were 100% wholesale in January of 2015, and we ended at about 3.8 million in sales that year.
Wow. And
then in 2016, we jumped up to 7 million. And the awesome part is, I can tell you this. This is, you remember, like the problem was we were, I was on the road all the time, right? Like I've been home literally almost every single day at 6 o'clock. I've worked significantly less, and I don't. I have employees. Like that's the thing is we focused. We did it a bit different than most people. We focused on creating a scalable system that we could kind of remove ourselves from the day-to-day job. So as far as working, I got plenty of free time. All I do is hang out with my employees and coach them and make fun of them and stuff.
I'm excited to ask you about that. And Chris and I, we're always talking about that. What's going on, Chris, man? How you doing today?
Good. I want to know, how does your actual Amazon, like the business currently operate? Like you have a warehouse, how many employees now? And,
We
what does it kind of
have
look like? Do you come into work at 10, like after rush hour? Or I guess there's no rush hour with your world, right?
rush hour doesn't exist, bro. Yeah, we got I like today. I mean, today I was going to. I'm generally here by 10. I mean, I'm usually here by 10, but I'm usually like messing around in Facebook groups and goofing off most of the day. But today, like I showed up at 11:30. I went and got an hour and a half massage before I came.
Ooh.
And I had to prep for the green room, man. Like, so,
Gotta get that blood flowing for the green room. Okay.
right. So, I got here at 11:30 today. But yeah, as far as that goes, like, I don't contact our vendors anymore. Like, it started out with me and Eric contacting vendors and stuff. I don't contact vendors. I don't look for leads. Like, all we have employees and virtual assistants that handle that. In terms of employees, we have 9, I think. Mm-hmm. And 6 of those are deal with packing and shipping our products. And then we have 2 guys that on our buying team and 1 guy that focuses on helping vendors. So cool. Kind of like customer service.
Awesome, man. Yeah, so we got a good show going on. Welcome. Good to have you here, Dan, Bonafide. Good to see you here as well. We do want to mention before we get into the show, we're going to start shouting some people out. But if you guys are interested in this wholesale, learning more about it, Dan the Man and his buddy Eric, actually more your partner Eric, they created a free 3-part video series talking about their business model, how they started, how they scaled, choosing products, analyzing the whole 9 yards. So that is actually down in the description below. And if you're watching on mobile right now, that's greenroomuniversity.com/free training. So just grab it. It's free. And not only is the information really, really good, but I was just talking to Chris about it. Dude, the video quality on that video series, because for me personally, when I'm watching a video, like I need to make sure like the quality's good, it's engaging. Dude, you killed that, man. You killed that video.
Oh yeah. I mean,
did you shoot that yourself? No way.
No. We Dylan worked with a small group around here, and they came in and helped us shoot it and stuff.
Nice. Awesome. Cool. So yeah, guys, be sure to get that free training below. But let's actually dive into our handy dandy outline that we always have on these shows, because we like to keep it structured for you guys. Oh, wait, 1 second. Chris, you want to shout some people out before we get started?
Sure. We got Jose, Draco, Pedro, Eduardo, and Niels. We have Samuel, Huey the Real, TY Hipstar, Stone Mason, a lot of familiar faces, a lot of people that probably want to learn about this new opportunity. It's not really a new opportunity. Well, it's new to us, I guess. It's going to be, it's pretty fascinating kind of stuff. I got to tell you real quick, Dan, both Raken and I are on our way to ASD in March. Are you going to be at ASD, or is that something you even do anymore, or no?
I mean, as far as shows, like our model's a bit different. Like I said, our model's a bit different than most, man. Like, I can tell you all about like some of the struggles we had, but one of them was shows. We didn't do terribly or particularly well at them. So our business, I mean, we don't go to trade shows. Like I might come out to Vegas because it's Vegas and it's awesome, but
okay.
Yeah, we're not coming out to go to a trade show.
So let's talk about some of the trouble when you first started to do wholesale. Like, what was some of the problems, and how did you fix them? But let's, someone that's proceeding down this way, like what are they guaranteed to get into in some of these problems? What did you encounter?
I mean, I can like I approached it. Bear in mind, like we were retail arbitrage. We didn't have a lot of experience with wholesale, so it was a new animal to us. So whenever we jumped in, we did the same thing everybody else does. Like we went to Google, we typed in wholesaler, we started clicking on people's stuff. We went to your Sell Who's, your worldwide brands, like all those engines that keep a bunch of wholesalers, names and stuff like that. And then like we would reach out to them, and we got these catalogs, and it was miserable because like you're sitting here weeding through this stuff, and you might find like 2 items or 3 items, and they're not even really that good, right? Like it's just like, ugh, I can order this and maybe make money, but it's not exciting. Like I can't build my business around. I got 1 item here, 2 items here. It's not sustainable. Like I'm not going to grow like that. So then our next option was, all right, trade shows are obviously where it's at. So we went to trade show. and our first one was ASD. And when we went, it was really crazy because, you know, we paid for our plane tickets, we paid for our hotel rooms, and they kind of like put you in the buying mode, right? Like you're like, hey, I need to spend some money. Like I paid to come. It's like I need to justify being here. So like we're trying, just going booth after booth, scanning, you know, random junk, and it's just, again, it was like looking through a live catalog, those big giant crazy catalogs, and it just didn't work. Like we ended up buying some stuff. Some of it was good, some of it was bad, but like again, you're not building your business on some being good, some being bad, right? Like you need some sort of consistency because these weren't replenishable products. They were more like one-off shots of random stuff. So it was just deflating because it's like, nah, man, like I guess retail arbitrage is the only thing we got going. Like it's the only thing we're going to be able to do. So we were sitting down in front of a computer and talking about it. It was like we were just trying to figure it out, and we're looking at a product on Amazon. It's like, why can't I sell that product? I just want to sell that one. And it was like, well, we don't know where to get it. So we got a weird idea. We were like, hey, we'll just call the manufacturer and ask them, where do we purchase this thing? Like, we're a retailer. We want to buy this. Right. Like, where can I buy it? So I called them, and they were like, yeah, we set up accounts for retailers. Like, where do you guys sell at? It's like, oh, we sell online on Amazon. And they're like, okay, cool. Do you have a resale certificate? It's like, oh yeah, here's our resale certificate. Got the price list. That product was awesome. And it was like, I'll be honest with you, this was the part where we were like, oh yeah, like we thought that we were going to be filthy rich. Like, I mean, it's like, oh, this game is easy. It's rigged. It's so easy. Like, we're just going to be so disgustingly rich by the end of the year. We're going to buy our private island and just hang out on the beach all day. It didn't work like that. I mean, it was a bit harder. Like, so, you know, now that we've got this, we're laser focused in, and we just look at a product, we call them, they say yes, we buy it, we make a ton of money. Like, well, the next, like, so we end up calling the next person, and yeah, we'd love to carry your product. We're a retailer, and they're like, okay, cool. Where do you sell it? Like Amazon. Like, oh, we don't want any Amazon sellers. We're not selling to Amazon sellers. It's like, huh. Okay, like try again. It's like no, and it's just like, well, you know, we're crushed at that point because we're not going to be able to have our private island at the end of the year. But it didn't like. But it was one of those weird things, like, you know, it's like no, yes, and that was the crazy part. You see that growth of 0 to 400,000, and it's like it doesn't take a whole lot of products because we were targeting products that sold incredibly well. So it wasn't like, you know, think of every product in our, like currently, even in our business, every single product we carry is replenishable, every one of them. Like I order it month after month after month. So that's why our sales consistently climb is I'm just adding stuff to it, right? So like, even though I'm getting told no a whole bunch, like I was easily able to fail my way to 400K in 6 months. And that was with a whole lot of hiccups. So yeah, I mean, that's how we tackled it, man. It was like, again, it's weird because it's just complete dumb luck that we found something that actually worked to get over the hurdles and get us at least moving in the right direction.
Okay. Wow. There's a question in the feed from Seamus O'Brien. What was your initial capital invested on your first wholesale deal?
I think our first order was like $800. So like, I'll tell you this, whenever we decided to go wholesale, we put 10,000, like we've been pretty successful with retail arbitrage. So we put $10,000 into our available capital fund, and we weren't able to even get close to spend. I think we spent like $3,000 in our first 30, 45 days. Like, it was really hard to spend money because you get told so much.
Okay.
Cool. Awesome. So, now I'm hearing all this, and I'm still thinking to myself, like, because I know you mentioned that you were finding good products that were selling really, really well. If the folks who are new to Amazon, there's something called the Amazon seller rank, right? So you're looking for the really, the products with really good feedback, low seller ranks or high, whatever you like to call it, but fast velocity. What's the best way for someone to get started? Like, maybe what's the first step for somebody who's like, all right, maybe I'm doing retail arbitrage, or I know a lot of people that follow us, Dan, they're thrifting, doing garage sales, and they love it, but they're having a hard time scaling. Like in all seriousness, like they want their island, right? No, they really want their time. They want to spend more time with their family, their kids, all that stuff. But man, it's so time consuming. Like it's so time consuming doing this. And it's like, okay, wholesale sounds great, but like what's my first step?
Right. I mean, that's the whole thing, right? It wasn't that we weren't making money when we were doing retail arbitrage. We were making great money. It was that we couldn't scale and grow without committing more hours, and there just aren't more hours in a week. Like, I mean, I shared that same mindset, and that's what really got us moving in the right direction. The first thing you need, no matter what, honestly, is a resale certificate. Every single supplier will ask you for a resale certificate, all of them. And if you're not from the U.S., like you get your country's equivalent of it, and that's what they're going to look for. But yeah, so that's absolutely required. You got to get that. It's not even hard to get. A lot of people get intimidated by that. It's like you can go to your own state government website and do it yourself, or you could go if you have more, if you're one of the people that have more money than time, like by all means go to a CPA or a CPA, and they'll be able to get it for you. And I think that our CPA charges $250. We did it.
Awesome. Cool. Also, another big issue, right? I just had a guy on the other day, my buddy Nick Landowski, and we were talking about private label, and we were talking about how much money to get started. And we kind of came to the conclusion with private label, just because of, all the different things from shipping to minimum orders and all that, we were thinking maybe $5,000 to $10,000. And a lot of people were like, wow, like I don't have that much money to get started. With wholesale, is it the same thing where, you should have 5 or 10 grand or some money banked, or like, could somebody start with 500? I mean, obviously there's going to be different answers, but like, what's a conservative answer that you would give to that question? Like how much to get started?
In terms of the private label, my experience was it was 10,000's more, like 10,000's more of a baseline minimum for private label. Like we dabbled in it, and it's because you gotta build momentum with the product, and that takes
the cash flow issues too.
Right, like it's a lot. But with wholesale, here's the thing: it's what do we usually suggest to people? We usually suggest say $2,000 to $4,000, like as a minimum. But that's because we believe that gives you real flexibility. Whereas most of the minimum orders we come across, and probably 85% of the accounts we contact, are $500 minimum orders. So it's it's not right. It's not super expensive, but having $2,000 to $4,000 is one of those things that offers you flexibility, right? Like you want as little pressure going into any business situation as possible. Like I never want somebody to feel like they, whenever they make a purchase, it has to be right or they're doomed. Like that's, that gives you a little bit of flexibility and a little bit of learning potential in there, because everything's going to be a lesson. But I'll plug that video again, like the Green Room University / training, like that tells a lot about the products specifically and the way we target products. So definitely check that out, and you'll see, like with wholesale, it's a bit different. Here's the cool thing is if I invest, let's say I invest like $1,500 into a product, like when do I get that back? Like if the worst case scenario, let's say absolute worst case scenario, if you follow what we always suggest to people and what we do ourselves, like worst case scenario is you might lose 5%, or you might break
Interesting.
Because we don't target products where we have to build demand. Like we target products that are moving. So that's the worst case scenario, but you will get your money back in 30 days. Like that's the thing. That win, lose, or draw. Wow. So it's not like, it's a lot less risky than a lot of models, because we focus, our number one metric in our business for us is turn rate. Like we focus on products that sell quickly. We want our money back, and we want to make as many decisions as possible.
So you'd rather get a product that maybe only makes you, let's just say, a 20% ROI, but you flip it in a day, versus a 50 or 60% ROI, like maybe, right? And I'm saying maybe, quote unquote, because there's a million factors. That price could change overnight. You'd rather go with, what is it called? It's the fast nickel versus the slow dime. Yep.
And I can tell you the logic behind it. Whenever we look at that, whenever we're looking at that model, it was like, obviously we love big margins, right? Everybody loves big margins. That's fun stuff. But if you look at it from the wholesale perspective, you want to place bigger orders so you can get free shipping, and You can get discounts and stuff like that. And it's hard to do that with items that don't sell really quickly. So first off, it helped us drive down our cost. Secondly, it reduces variance. Like if you look at products that have like big price degradation, then the typical thing is they don't sell very fast. So somebody's, like I'm trying to position myself to be the next sale, then you try to position yourself to be the next sale, and we're all chasing one sale. Like that doesn't happen very, very much. I'm not going to say it never happens, but it doesn't happen very much on products that sell really quickly because I'm going to sell my 100. You're going to sell your 100. That's how it works. Like we both know we're going to sell a whole bunch of them. So like the prices tend to be settled a lot more. So
Dude,
that was.
I'm laughing because with VHS, I remember I used to sell VHS tapes, and it would be like a 300,000 rank, and it'd be like 8 sellers, and like it only sells twice a year.
Right, and you need to be one of those sales. That's the thing. Like, you need to win that lottery. Like that. That's we built our business around guarantee. It's just guaranteed, right? Like we're guaranteed to sell the product. The only variable is how much money we're going to make when we do it. And obviously, we try to insulate our decision process as much as possible.
So, talk about that. Insulate your decision. Like, what does that mean? Does that mean account for some erosion?
No, I mean, for us, you got a lot of information. Most people don't realize how much information you have to work with, and this is why we love working from our computers as opposed to a show, right? Like at a show, I'm more inclined to make a decision right there. Whereas if I'm sitting in front of my computer, I can look at Keepa. I can see how consistent this product's been. I can look at Jungle Scout. I can see how many times it's selling. And like literally the only variable left in the equation is how much I have to pay for the thing. And like once I contact the company, that part, you just plug that part into your equation. So it's like you're making a decision with almost perfect information. Now, granted, things change afterwards, and they can change. But honestly, our restock rate is 95%. That means 95% of the products that I'm buying this month, I will be buying next month.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Like that's the thing about that's the thing is that's why our income is continues to rise. It's because we're not always chasing new products. All we're doing is adding to our existing base.
So let me ask you, Dan. I know you were talking about it before with contacting a bunch of different suppliers, and you were getting a lot of no's, and you'd get that one yes. But like it's a common theme that like people are very discouraged because they're contacting supplier, manufacturer after manufacturer, and they're just getting turned down. I don't want to work with Amazon sellers. You hear it so many times now. Like I don't remember if you mentioned the tip, but I didn't get it. Are there any tips for how to get by that? Because that is like honestly the biggest roadblock. Sure. Like from people that I hear talking about, like I don't want to do wholesale because they don't want to deal with Amazon sellers. How do you get around that?
Well, here's the thing. First off, you have to realize, like it's a bit of mindset thing too, right? Like you have to realize you are going to fail. Like people are going to tell you no, and it doesn't mean that they don't like you or you're a bad person. It just means that it's just business, right? Like we even the year we did 3.8 million in sales, we still were turned down by about 70% of the people we contacted. To give you an idea,
that's pretty high,
right? And still just growing like a weed. But the thing is, you can reduce that variance. Like our first year, I mean, whenever we were first doing it, it was like 90+% of people turned us down. And we were still did. I mean, we still did $400,000 in sales in 6 months. Like it just doesn't take a lot. Like that's the thing is, if you're targeting the right products, it doesn't take a whole lot of yeses to stack up. But I want to answer your question now. Like, how do you reduce that variance, right? And it's pretty simple. It sounds crazy easy because like we all take for granted the things we know, right? Like it's one of those things like you're like, I know this. It's so easy to me that everybody should theoretically know it. And most Amazon sellers, most of the people that follow you, Steve, don't realize how much they know. They don't realize the value of their information. So let's say that I'm looking at a listing on Amazon, and all of us know there's 6 pictures, right? That you have 6 available pictures. If a product doesn't have all 6 pictures, is it going to sell as well as if it did have all 6 pictures? No. If the title's wonky, so what we look at is we look at title, pictures, bullets, descriptions. And if there's any issues right there, we know that we can help them fix that. It'll create a higher conversion for their product. So we reach out to them with the intent of helping them. Like we turned into a serve first company. It's like,
oh, wow.
Right. Like, you know, most people, what they want to do is they want to call them, place their order, be done with it, right? And it's purely transactional. Whereas we reach out to them with a mission to actually help them improve their listings, improve their conversion. So whenever they tell us, like, hey, man, you know, we're not really looking for any more Amazon sellers. But, yeah, I agree with you. I wouldn't either. Like, to be perfectly honest, like, I wouldn't sell to more Amazon sellers either. Like, you actually need to sell to fewer, and you need to sell to the ones that are willing to help you. Like, the ones that can share in a mission of helping you grow. And here's how we would do it.
I love that.
Like, you know, what we're doing right there is we're showing them that we want to be a partner. Like, that's our goal, is we want to be a true partner for their brand. And you would be shocked at how many people are receptive to that. Because, again, you think it's really easy, right? Like, you go to the page, you see that one picture. Guess what? Let's say that product has 8 vendors or 10 vendors selling it. Guess how many of them told them they needed more pictures? 0. Like, you're going to be the first. Like, honestly, when you tell these vendors this, like, you have to bear in mind that vendors, they're concentrating on the global market, right? They're concentrating on, like, what they can do to help market their product better. In Walmart, Target, on Amazon, like, they need your advice. They need somebody to come on and tell them how to run an expert. They need somebody to make them better. And whenever you talk, whenever you're saying these simple things, fix your pictures, fix your descriptions, they will legitimately think you are a wizard. Like, because nobody has talked to them about it. That's the thing, is nobody has came with the serve first mentality.
Do you find that this works well with small to middle grade companies, or are you doing this kind of work with big companies like Canon or things like that have a lot of restrictions, let's say, or Nikon, like on Amazon, for example?
Sure. We tend to work with small and mid grade companies. Like, you gotta think about, like, the number one real deciding factor in our product selection process is we've started even thinking about, can I help them? Like, that's the number one question we're really asking ourselves is, can I help them? And then you think about Canon. It's like, can I help a multi-billion-dollar company? It's like, not really. I mean, they pay more in salary to their marketing department than I'll do in the next 10 years in sales. Like, I'm not really going to have an impact with them. So that's the thing, is, like, you look at a company where you can make a change that will actually help them. And that's how we're making our decisions.
So give us an example of some of the companies that you have worked with, let's say back in 2014, or give us an example of a company that let's say maybe you're not working on it right now, but, like, this is the type of company. Would it be, what do you think it would be, like Anchor, ANKER? Like, what would it be in your eyes? I mean,
Anchor started as a private label brand.
Right.
Let me try to think of one that we did. Here's a great one. Scratch Labs. Like, that's a product made to replenish people's electrolytes. It's basically like a version of Gatorade in a powder form that people can make some of. For that product, the product is great. So yeah, that's a perfect example.
So you talk to them directly then, right? This is a small company. You're talking to probably one of the head honchos at this point, right?
Right. You can easily get to talk to somebody who, one of their chief officers. Another company we dealt with that a lot of people have probably heard of is Quest Nutrition.
Oh yeah, I know Quest. Yeah.
Like, we sold. We probably sold. We probably sold $100,000 in Quest Nutrition stuff. And that it's the same concept. Like, we know we help them and do as much as we can. The problem is, like, Quest grew so much. Like, they grew so much that it's easier for them to work with Amazon.
Cool. I have one more question, then we're going to dive into Q&A, because there's a lot of questions coming through, and we have 180 people watching live right now. So
that's impressive, man.
At 4:30 right now, Dan the man, you brought the heat today, man. I'll tell you, they were excited to get to talk with you a little bit, because at this time, typically, we'll be lucky to have half this many people. So thank you, everyone, for watching. We got one more question, and then we're going to go into Q&A. So if you guys are enjoying the show so far, Bonafide, what should they do?
they need to hit the like button. Hit the like button for good fortune, and hit the like button for good content. Honestly, we have 57 upvotes. You know, we're not mathematicians here, but we can tell that some people haven't made a choice. So hit the like button, hit it for Dan and Eric, and also don't forget to check down below the link for those free videos. There should be 3 of them, right, Rakin?
Yep, it's a 3-part, right, Dan? Isn't I know one video is released.
Right, and I'll be honest with you, video 2, I think we're supposed to get it at the end of the day back from the editors, and we got to watch it once over. So I think he's going to make it live on Tuesday.
Cool, awesome. So get that, smash the like button, and last question for you, Dan, is a lot of people say that every product they find isn't profitable on Amazon, right? Like, I'm going to ASD for the first time in March. So is Chris, 19th to the 22nd, and that's one thing I was a little worried about too. I'm going for a different business, but I'm also going to be looking for Amazon as well. And I was worried that like every single product I see is just going to be like not profitable, or there's going to be like a million sellers on it. Like, I know it's kind of like a negative mindset, but I know a lot of people are probably thinking that, or they've already started doing it and they're just like, there's no money to be made. Like, what do you have to say about that?
So this will probably blow people's minds. 85% of the price lists we receive are literally, even the current ones we buy from, we don't pay anywhere near the price list. So
really,
like, oh yeah, it's one of the key parts of doing wholesale is negotiation and trying to work with people, right? But here's the thing: is if let's say that you're one of the normal Amazon sellers that come to them and they buy something and then they go sell it, right? Like, they're much less incentivized to work with you on pricing than they are to someone like me, because I've came to them with the serve first mentality. I show them the margin. Like, I don't care to show them. I'll just be like, okay, so check this out. Here's what we get back after Amazon fees. Unfortunately, that's not enough margin for us. Like, we need to be more in this range right here. And, I want to help you and I want to do it, but it has to make sense for our company as well. And a lot of companies are pretty flexible when they start being approached in that mentality. Like, a lot of there's 2 ways to go about it, right? It's, I want to work with you, or I'm going to browbeat you and try to make you give me a discount. And I promise you that's a lot less effective.
But buying power also like works a lot too. Like, the fact that you are now not doing any more like $600 or $800 buys, you're doing multi-thousand buys, right?
Only when it makes sense. No, not really. I mean, our buys are still pretty small for the most part. We don't go deep on inventory. I only buy 30 days worth of inventory at a time.
So long-term storage fees have never. That's just not in your book. None of that stuff's in your book.
I mean, our average turn rate last year, like I said, we typically target between 30 and 45 days of inventory. Given there's some factors like lead time that'll
sure.
But we target 30 to 45 days, and our average turn rate quarters 1 through 3 last year was 42 days.
That's amazing. So they're just like you. So you okay? At any given time, how many items are up there on Amazon, circulating through like 5,000, 10,000?
You mean units or?
Yeah, units. Yes.
we sell about 1,000 to 1,200 units a day.
Whoa.
So
nice.
we sell between 30 and 35,000 units a month right now.
Are you guys doing only FBA, or are you guys also merchant fulfilling items as well at the warehouse? Because I know you're shipping things out. Is that only shipping to the FBA warehouses, or?
Yeah, that's all FBA.
Imagine
we don't merchant fulfill at all.
Dude, imagine, Dan, if you were merchant fulfilling 1,200 items a day. How many employees would you have to have?
I mean, you'd have to have an army. Like, that's the problem. That's what's honestly, that was what drew us to Amazon in the first place. Is Amazon has created a system that lets you scale beyond having to create your own infrastructure. And from day one, I mean, that was our whole mentality, right? We have the opportunity just to go look for product. Like, even when we're doing retail arbitrage, we don't have to worry about a lot of this other jazz. Like, we just have to go find awesome products and do it. And the same thing's true with our wholesale businesses. We just have to find more awesome products all the time. develop great relationships.
Any hiccups with Amazon in the past 2 years, 3 years, such as, I don't know, them losing some of your stuff, them saying, hey, this is not, you're not licensed to do this, but then you show them that yes, I am. Like I talk directly to the people.
Counterfeits, all that.
Yeah, like anything like that. I mean, I'm sure you guys don't do commingling or any of that stuff, right? You're selling your actual product, huh?
Oh, we do commingling.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Here's the beautiful thing, right? I promise you this. It's the more products you sell, the more think of it. We're going to get counterfeit claims probably more often than you because we may sell more product. That's proportional. Like you're going to have everybody's going to get their percentage of shady customers or what have you. Whenever we get a counterfeit claim, like our information can't be more legitimate. I can literally have, and we get letters from our manufacturers that say we're authorized vendors and our product's legitimate. I get that, plus I get invoices direct from the people who own the brand, like the manufacturer. And we get them. They're solved in it literally takes us like 2 hours to solve a counterfeit claim. Like brand restrictions. We've went through between 15 and 20 of them so far. Like as far as getting approved for different brands, and it's generally about a day process. Like we have to get a letter of authorization from the manufacturer and give that to Amazon, and they review it. And so now we're selling at least 15 restricted brands.
So when Amazon restricts a brand, like for the average person who's just thrifting items or going to retail stores, like you're pretty much. How am I trying to say this? When they restrict it, are they just restricting it to people who aren't getting the approval from the manufacturer? So, for example, say Sony restricts me. If Sony did give me the permission to sell it, right?
Yep.
Then that's going to get lifted once you send that proof into Amazon. Is that how it works with all of them?
Yes. And now you're much less likely to get that from Sony than some smaller vendors. But yes, I mean if you are become an approved vendor, you will get, we're allowed to sell it. So that's what I'm saying, like 15 or 20 of the brands that we carry at this point are like, you go scan that item and let's say a Walmart or something, that product is restricted. It'll just show up as restricted. You wouldn't be allowed to sell it.
Chris, we got any questions in the comments, man?
You beat me. I was going to get the transition just right, but you beat me, dude.
I was quick, man. You got to be quick, man.
I was quick. I was thinking about it, and then you said something.
See, you've been training me. You've been working with the workout programs, man. My reflexes, man.
Oh, man. Okay, so we got the first one from Corvide65, and it is, what are the processes you use in dealing with prep centers, and how does it work? Your prep center is your warehouse, correct? Right.
Well, here's a fun thing. We actually started our warehouse before we knew a prep center existed. Otherwise, we would be in a prep center. Like, I would 100% suggest that route over having your own warehouse. And here's the thing: like if you're trying to start your own warehouse or whatever, there's a lot of expenses that go into that, and you're paying for them regardless of if you're shipping product or not. So, again, that would push me to tend to do work through a prep center. But it's pretty easy. I mean, it depends which prep center you're working through. But most of them have a software, and it's you type in, the stuff you're sending to them. They confirm it when it gets there and check it in, make sure it's not damaged, didn't get hurt in shipping or whatever. And then they'll create, either you may create the shipping plan, or they will. And then the different prep centers do different stuff. But let's say you create it. Like you'll create that shipping plan. They'll send you all the boxes and measurements and stuff like that. You'll put them in, print the labels, and they'll have it sent to Amazon for you.
Interesting. Okay. Tim Miner says, "Who are good wholesalers? Like, if a good wholesaler comes to mind, like I know you deal with these companies direct, but like, who are some good wholesalers to deal with?"
I mean, honestly, we've just not had any luck with true normal wholesalers. Like that was. All the products that we buy directly from the brands themselves.
Oh, okay. Well, that's like the magic tip right there.
Right, like we're not working with just any old random wholesaler. Like we want people to tell us no. That's the thing is we want, like with a wholesaler. Let's look at it from this perspective. Let's say that me, Rakin, and Chris go to a wholesaler. Right, wholesalers. What is your typical wholesaler or distributor? what is their mission? It's to sell more product, right? They don't care about the brand because they don't own the brand. Like the brand doesn't mean anything to them. They just want to move more product. So let's say I go in with $1,000 and I place my order. You got Rakin who follows me up with a $2,500 order. Like they're going to work with him more, like because that's the only differentiator. And then let's say Bonafide's Bonafide's coming in with a baller status. He's going to drop $10,000 on him.
That's about right.
Bonafide,
yeah,
man.
that's about right, man. I took you down already. See what happened?
Right, like now he's got us both ranked. Like he's going to get a better price than everybody. Like, and it's just that's the differentiator. The differentiator is your wallet size. Well, I can't compete on that level. Like there's some big mean nasty guys out there on Amazon, right? Like they do a whole lot more than we do. I can't compete at that level. What I can compete on is the service level. Like I can, if I can help a brand succeed, that means more to them than me placing a bigger order. So we remove that variable out of the equation and turn it into a service-based relationship.
Okay. From Sari S says, do most manufacturers give these letters of authorization easily?
Well, this is if you don't lie to them, yes. Like, I mean, every vendor we work with knows that we're an Amazon seller, so it's not strange for me to go to them and ask them for a letter of authorization for Amazon. If you've lied to them and be like, no, I sell it like I'm not a store or whatever, like, and they don't know you're an Amazon seller. Oh yeah, like that'll suck because they're not gonna like you lied to them. You're probably not gonna get it. They're not gonna authorize you. So I would encourage everybody to be very upfront about what you do. I mean, try to work with the people and develop the relationships with people who want to work with you back.
Okay, how would you kind of word it in a non-confrontational, but like I really want to get something across, or I need to sell this product? This would be a great one. How would you word an authorization letter? If you could say maybe 5 sentences and like how it kind of lay out, so that way we can get the theme down a little bit. How would it kind of sound in your eyes?
You mean the one that they would write to Amazon?
Yeah, like the one that you put to the manufacturer, I think. Not to
well, I mean the manufacturer. Okay, so the way it works, whenever let's say I want to get ungated on Nike, I would have Nike write a letter that says I'm an approved seller of that brand. And I would give that to the Amazon Seller Performance team, and they do their due diligence to make sure that I didn't write that thing myself.
So basically, like, hello,
it's super simple. I mean, it's.
How do you? It's kind of just like, hello, I'm interested in selling your brand on Amazon.
You mean the letter to the manufacturer? Are you talking about like how to get approved?
From like a manufacturer level. Like if you were just to write a letter to Nike, for example, how would that kind of like play out?
Oh, if I wanted to sell their products.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got you. I mean, here's the thing. A lot of people try to get really elaborate with this, and it's not necessary. Like we are very, very simple and upfront with what we do. So it's more like ours is, hey, or hi, I am. I'm Dan. I represent this company. We've seen your products and we really like them. We would love to carry them. We would love to carry your products and offer them to our customers. Here's some more information about us. Link to our website. Let us know what we need to do to set up an account. Super simple.
Okay.
It can be more simple than that.
Question, kind of back to the prep center versus what you have. You actually have what's a prep center to you now, completely under control. You know how it works. And you built this thing before prep centers really even existed for the most part. Do you feel as if the way you're running yours is super efficient, or do you see yourself maybe in the future switching to a prep center and maybe shutting down the warehouse kind of thing?
At this point, it's a lot of it's think of it this way. A lot of it's based on sheer number of units, right? Like if I'm processing, the more units I'm able to process, the less a prep center makes sense, right? For example, and I'll put that in context. Let's say that I'm paying $2,000 a month rent, and I'm paying, and I'm processing 2,000 units per month. I'm effectively paying $1 per unit in just rent. Like then you factor in your electricity, your other bills. Let's say that ends up being another $2,000. Now I'm paying $2 a unit a month to process my own products. Now I'm doing it myself too, which really sucks because I have less time. If you put an employee in there, now you may be paying $3 or $4 a unit once you factor in that employee's wages. So all you have to do is compare that cost to a prep center. Like, does it make more sense, financial sense, to go through a prep center? And the answer's almost always yes, unless you're processing a whole lot of units. Now, with us, we're at the point to where like 35,000 units a month, where we're actually beating prep center rates, but it's not by a lot. Like, I think I process a unit at 42 to 44 cents. Like, process it and deliver it to Amazon. Like, now with a prep center, I think you can get it down to like 60 cents now delivered.
Okay, cool. Interesting.
I have a question. Do you have managers as well? Because let's throw time into the equation. You know, you're beating out the prep center in terms of, you know, money-wise right now, but the time aspect, do you feel like maybe it would be a decision down the road, maybe to go with a prep center, maybe somebody who's new or they're starting to scale, maybe they should go with that prep center based on your experience, because the time of managing all the employees and the time
it's I mean, that's the part. Like, that's the thing. We always suggest go to a prep center because it's kind of, you know, now, like, here's the thing. I have a warehouse. So, like, I do come and go as I please, but I kind of got to come every now and then to make sure things are right. Like, I've added an obligation. Whereas if I operated through a prep center, there's literally zero obligation. If I don't send them for anything for a week, nobody's going to get mad. If I send them a lot of stuff in one day, I mean, it's their job, right? Like, they know it. It operates independently of me. So I always suggest going to a prep center if possible.
Okay. Pedro has a question regarding the letter to the manufacturer to get, you know, ungated and all that kind of stuff, or to get authorization to resell or sell on Amazon. What department would you send the letter to?
Here's the fun part. So whenever, like, let's say I wanted to, let's say I want to sell whatever kombucha tea he's drinking, like the tea stuff he's drinking.
Yogi.
It's tea stuff, man. It's tea stuff. That's exactly what it is.
So I go to I would go to yogi.com or I would look up Yogi and maybe it's like yogitea.com or whatever. But like, I go to their website, I go to the contact us button. If there's something that says wholesale or retailers contact us here or something like that, I click that. Otherwise, I just hit the contact button. Like, I don't care to send it to their customer service. And if I do send it to their customer service, I may put the first line as, please forward this to the necessary department.
Okay. Regarding your website, what content should be on your company website to be attractive to other brands when you're saying, hey, check us out, we're legit, all that kind of stuff, we want to sell your product? What kind of content should be on your actual website to make it attractive?
Sure. We have, it's more just, it's like our mission statement, what we do. We kind of break down what we do, some of the services and cool stuff we can do to help them, and how we're selling their product. That's it. It's nothing exciting. It's nothing exciting or difficult. Like, these are one-page websites that are just good information about how you are, just information to show that you're professional.
Okay. From Daniel Justin in the green room, when you order from manufacturers, do they ship pallets, or are you getting sometimes orders that are kind of small and that can fit in boxes and stuff like that?
I mean, that scales as you grow, right? Like, whenever we first started, like 95% of our stuff came parcel, and then it became we scaled it up to, like, we get pallets, and then now we get a lot of multi-pallet orders. So it just scales as you grow. And here's the thing, like, if receiving pallets is a problem, that's another value of having a prep center. They all have docks. Okay.
So really good information. We're still awaiting a couple more questions in the feed. Ask away, guys, especially because now it's a live show. Do us a favor, Reagan, right? We got to get that like button hit. This is a really, really interesting show, honestly. We talked about wholesale yesterday with people in the green room, and this is just a completely different spin on it, and we learned a lot of new things here on this show. But if you do want to get more information about this, and you do want to start watching those free videos, you can get video number 1 down below. Is that right, Reagan?
Yep, down below.
Okay. Here's another question from Dad Life. Say I am gated. I guess I'm gated in grocery, but the manufacturer of kombucha tea gives me approval. Will Amazon ungate me in grocery because of that?
All right. Amazon has a defined ungating process. And here's the biggest tip in the world. The way you get ungated in a category currently is by doing wholesale. They want to see invoices from 3 different manufacturers in commercial quantity. Like, if now if I bought his Yogi tea, I would probably want to find some other cool item I carried or want to carry, and another cool item I would want to carry, and purchase those products, send Amazon my invoices, and you will be ungated. That's exactly what Amazon wants you to do.
Okay.
Wow. That's. Can I ask you real quick? Why do you think they're going that model? Why do you think they're gating everybody off? These third-party sellers who aren't getting invoices and whatnot. What's your opinion on that? Because I know a lot of people are probably thinking that.
Okay, think about the categories that are gated, right? Let's talk about it. It's grocery, health and personal care, beauty are 3. Now, what do all those things have in common?
Liability.
Right, liability. Exactly. I mean, that's the answer. Like, you eat it, you put it in you, or you rub it on you. Like, that's what those categories do. Like, you want people who have professional handling practices selling your products. So that's why they're requiring invoices for those. Now you look at DVDs. Why do they require invoices there? High counterfeiting, right? They need you to be an expert to say, an expert enough to be able to look at a DVD and know if it's fake or not.
Awesome.
So
awesome,
while we're
man.
on that notion real quick, are there certain items that you kind of stray away from being a wholesaler now? Do you kind of go, okay, like I like this type of item because do you have like a checklist? Like we want to get into items that don't have these qualities because these qualities, have high amounts of counterfeit, a lot of returns, or super scammers involved. Do you have anything like that?
I mean, as far as the items that we don't worry about, we don't worry about liability so much. I mean, we have liability insurance, which is a requirement if you are. I used to think this was a requirement if you're selling more than $10,000 a month. Recheck the rules. It is actually a requirement by Amazon that you have commercial general liability insurance if you are a professional seller.
And you can't get that with private label very easily, can you?
It's very tough. It is very tough.
That's one thing that always scared me so much with private label was like, if they come after you, like it's like so hard to get it from my understanding because each private label product is different. So the insurance would essentially have to be different for each one, right?
Well, that and the insurance company is relying on you to do your due diligence and testing. So
whereas with wholesale, it's more brand names or companies that are.
Well, I mean, realistically, let's say that I buy this pen wholesale. Like, let's say that I say, you bought it from me, you end up choking to death on it. I don't know why you're chewing on my pen, but you choked to death on it. You sue me, it goes to the manufacturer. Like, I'm not the manufacturer of record for that product. Now I may be named in the lawsuit, and that's why I need CGL insurance. But as far as the manufacturer of record, I'm not them. So the ultimate lawsuit will be against them.
Okay.
That's why it's harder with private.
Got a cool comment that just came in from Techic saying, "Good job, guys. Appreciate the confidence booster in contacting manufacturers and not being worried about hearing no." So
Good
very cool.
there.
That's awesome to hear.
I do have one question before this show ends, and that is, clearly you're what seems to be doubling your sales every year, right? So what's your goal in 2017 with your project now? Is it to maybe get a couple more people on the team? Is it to, get 10 million, 20 million? Like what are you and your partner shooting for this year?
Our stated goal this year is 10 million, with a stretch goal to 12 million. And we're changing up in terms of, we're changing a lot of things we're doing internally and a lot of our strategies. Like, we become really good at delivering value. We're focusing not so much as recruiting new exclusives this year, but with a lot of the brands that we're already working with, like transitioning those to be more exclusives. So, and here's a secret about exclusives: never reach out to a manufacturer and say, "Can I be the exclusive seller of your product?" You look like a doofus. They think you're insane. It's like literally walking up to a woman on the street and saying, "Will you marry me?" Nope. Like, unless you're, it's just not happening realistically. So yeah, it's as far as don't do that. So, but that's one of our plans this year is to focus a large part of our efforts into that.
So to kind of sum things up for the people who maybe came in halfway or they're really interested, what would be your final words of wisdom in terms of why you'd recommend somebody going into this business model? and really just, what direction to move in. Like, why get started? Like, why do you think now's a great time? Because there's so many business models out there, Dan. There's like so many ways to make money. We live in a world where there's so many opportunities. Why are you sticking with wholesale at the end of the day?
Like, why? Yeah, I mean, that's an awesome question, because the thing is, this business model is incredibly scalable. Like, I'll be honest with you, I made more money last year, significantly more than I've made on selling on Amazon any other year, and I worked so much less that it was disgusting. And I was able to spend a lot more time with my family and do things I actually enjoy doing, like this podcast. Like, I'm able to sit here and talk to you guys on this webinar, completely uninterrupted. My guys don't care; they're just dilly-dallying around doing their work, and it offers a significant amount of freedom. So, between being scalable and being able to create systems that allow you to remove yourself, I think it's just personally the absolute best model, and it holds so much less liability than other models. Like, I'm not. I'll say this: I am, versus your retail arbitrage seller, even somebody who is above board, I am so much less likely to get suspended from Amazon than them that it's comical, because all of my invoices are direct from manufacturer. Everything I do has approval. Like, it's a lot more streamlined and a lot less liability. There's a lot less liability.
Dude, I'll be honest. Like, over the last month or two, like, I've even on a lot of live shows, I've almost been negative in a sense towards Amazon, because it's like everyone's so fearful right now with all the brand restrictions, people are getting suspended, counterfeits, all these things, and like, I've even been talking a little smack about it here and there. But after this show and hearing about, how easy it is, I mean, if you're being honest with your manufacturers to get that, that reseller approval, right? I mean, you have your certificate and everything. You've got that approval. I mean, if you were to get a counterfeit or anything, I mean, literally, you have your invoices. Like, it's really getting me thinking, man, a lot. Because one of my biggest challenges was the time and the freedom. And like, I've been struggling, man. I know, Chris, you deal with this as well as a thrifter, which, it's amazing going out hustling and thrifting. But if you have big goals, I mean, it's stressful always going out there, getting items and having to replenish it yourself. And I don't know, man, what are your thoughts, Bonafide, final thoughts on what you got from this?
It sounds like a really interesting model. I mean, it's definitely completely different than what we were talking about last night, yet the same exact,
just a different spin.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So I think it's fascinating. I'm still going to go to ASD and see how that plays out. What I'm going down, the road I'm going down this year is probably a little bit more private label-ish, but it's a little different, and how I market it will be completely different than traditional ways. But I think this is absolutely a viable way with very, very, very limited liability. At this point, I don't even know if there is any. After talking to Dan, there just seems like there's really, I mean, if you're going straight to the manufacturers, at this point, I mean, gosh,
it's pretty cool.
You're semi-middleman, but you're not. You're like literally like
I'm
right
a
under the
retailer.
company. Yeah, you're a retailer, exactly. So it's very, very interesting.
And here's why I would suggest that you got, do go to ASD. Like, having conversations with manufacturers the first time you do it is difficult. Like, it's difficult in that you don't, it's uncomfortable stating your intentions and saying that I'm an Amazon seller. Like, that's hard. The thing is about going to ASD, you'll be able to have that conversation 100 times. And by the last time you have it, you'll be significantly better than when you got there. Like, it's all, that's the thing is, whenever you jump into a model like this, or whenever you jump into a model that's different than what you're used to, you have to understand that there is an adjustment period. Like, you're not going to just be like, the first time you talk to somebody, you're not going to be an all-star closer. It's just not going to happen. Like, you're going to learn, and you're going to grow every time you do it.
Okay.
Can I ask you one question out of my own motivated self-interest? I'm running a Shopify store right now. Have you ever considered, since you are, a retailer and you're building these huge, you're building these relationships with these brands, have you ever thought of, or are you even allowed to, like, for example, like right now I'm selling a lot of my products on Shopify by driving Facebook ads to them?
Yep.
Is that a viable option? Do you know of anybody doing that where they, instead of, they put it on Amazon and on Shopify? Amazon, you're getting a lot of that organic traffic, but with Shopify, you can make a lot of sales with social media, paid advertising. What are your thoughts on that real quick?
As far as, we used to do it. and it was definitely something you can grow with, right? And we used to concentrate more of our efforts on it. And then last year, we wanted to be, we had to kind of make a decision for ourselves, and it was what's going to help us grow the most. And it was just being a better Amazon seller. So we've kind of changed our marketing to be a better Amazon seller. But whenever we were contacting manufacturers, whenever we had our websites, and we still have them, we just don't put a lot of effort into them anymore. It was, we definitely told them, hey, we're a multi-channel retailer. We have our own audience here at stevesawesomestore.com, and we're also an Amazon seller. And a lot of people love it. Because you're introducing their product to a new audience.
But I guess at the end of the day, you're probably focusing on Amazon because with the Shopify route, you'd have to either ship it yourself or, have it multi-channel fulfilled by Amazon. It's just another step, whereas with Amazon, it's just so streamlined, right?
Right. And that was ultimately what it was.
Okay, cool.
Multi-channel fulfillment was expensive for having it, it limited my product selection a lot.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, hey, Dan Mitters, live in the flesh. Appreciate you coming, man. Real quick, could you tell people about the free training videos that we have in the description below, greenroomuniversity.com/free training? What is that all about if they get it?
It's actually, these videos cover video number 1 covers the philosophy that we operate and we've really built our business on. Like, it's an exact blueprint of how we operate and how we go through it. Video 2 is the nuts and bolts. It's like literally us going through, showing you how we select products, the math we're using to a lot of people are like, hey, aren't there a lot of sellers on this product? Like, I'll tell you this: the amount of people on the listing matter significantly less than you think. It's the amount of people that are actually competing. We go through that formula of how to select a competitive seller and see how much you're going to actually sell. So it's honestly, it's invaluable. And here I'll tell you a secret. You sign up for video number 1, and all the emails that we send to manufacturers, all the templates are there. Like, you'll get it as a bonus.
Oh wow, cool. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, hey, check that out, guys, down below, greenroomuniversity.com/free training. Dan, thanks for coming on. It looks like Bonafide, he might have got booted out of here. I think he was having some internet issues, but it was a privilege hanging out with you, man.
Absolutely, brother.
170 people still watching. So you guys, if you enjoyed this, do us a big favor, share this video, maybe in a Facebook group or, with a friend who maybe they're struggling with, finding time. Maybe they want to scale their business. Maybe they want to, get into a new business model. Share this with someone who you think it could help, right? Hit the like button, guys. It really helps us not only to know that we're doing a good job, but it helps YouTube to get it out to more people. And, we're really here to help and add value as much as possible. I mean, it's a lot of fun connecting, and I say it over and over again, if it wasn't for the community out there on YouTube and on Facebook and all the amazing people I've met and connected with and gotten good and even bad feedback, it helps us to grow. So we got to stick together, help one another out, and it's going to help us all to get ahead and accomplish our goals. So Dan, thank you. You guys keep rocking and rolling. Have a great 2017, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks.
Thanks, buddy.